Happy Pride Month, everybody. This is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about the Orville Season 3, Episode 5, A Tale of Two Topas. So, when this episode started off, I had no idea what it was going to be about. It kept changing direction like over and over and over again. To where I'm just kind of like, all right, Seth, where you going with this? Because first, they're on a planet and they're down in the tomb and they find like a bunch of old like relics and stuff. They bring it aboard like the ship. They're talking about it. Apparently, Charlie knows a lot about. Oh, well, she has like a thing about like old relics and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, okay, where you going with this? And so, like after that, we're in like their holodeck type thing, and we see a Mocklin. Well, actually, we don't even know it's a holodeck yet. We see like a Mocklin ship. So then it cuts to that of a Mocklin ship, and they're being attacked by the Kazon. And so, like, no, Kalon. Why do I keep saying Kazon? The Kalon. And so the person commanding the ship looks a bit young. So I'm like, that's kind of weird. See, when I started watching this episode, I didn't see the title because I adjusted my volume, and the volume covered up the title and stuff. And so I had no idea what this episode was called. And so as the person started talking, I'm like, this person not only sounds young, look young, but it sounds like a woman trying to sound like a man. And so I'm just kind of like, wait a minute. Could this be like, say, like, a Mocklin female pretending to be a man, kind of like a Mulan type thing? And then so turns out it was a holodeck simulation because the person failed and then they got injured by like the glass. And then Kelly comes in. I'm like, wait, who is she talking to? And then like, oh wait, it's Topa and everything. Like Brodus kid and everything. And so then Topa is all like, she wants to take some type of entrance exam when she gets when he gets older, and like join like the union. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna be like a Nog, a Deep Space Nine type episode when like he wants to join and all this other stuff. So I'm like, okay, now I know what direction the show's going in. But then, Topa started following Kelly around, and Kelly started showing Topa like all the like ship like decks and rooms and what goes on. And then there's like this gag about this like, well, a joke I guess you could say, about like this alien who walks around naked. Apparently it's custom in his religion when it's your first day of work to walk around naked. So Kelly like tiptoes around it and basically tells him to like put some pants on, stuff like that. And so then it took an unexpected turn, which I did not see. I'm just like, oh, so that's what this episode's about. It's not about like the relics or like that whole Nog joining Starfleet thing. See, Topa started talking about how like they feel comfortable around Kelly and something just doesn't feel right, and all kind of stuff. So I'm like, oh, that's right. Topa was born a girl, and then they turned her into a boy because that's Mocklin custom and stuff like that. No females and stuff. So it's harping back to that of season 1. And so Kelly decides, she's gonna talk to Bordis and like Clayton and tell, those two like what's up and how like, Topa has been feeling like different and stuff like that. So of course Bordis is kind of like silent, but Clayton's very angry and furious and talking about we should never tell him like what's going on because it's best that he not know and have to live with like shame like he did and everything and stuff like that because Clayton was born female too. And so like he gets really pissed at Kelly and tell her to get out and stuff. And so the next day Topa is like he's not allowed to be around like Kelly and stuff. And so This episode was written by Seth MacFarlane and directed by Seth. And so, because like the captain was the only person allowed to teach at that time. And so, Kelly started talking, asking around, like, what she should do. Like, she feels guilty. She feels like she's lying to Topa and everything. And, like, she wants to tell Topa, like, what he really was. But can't because of the parents and can't go against their wishes. And so she's very conflicted by this. Many parents feel the same way when they bore like a child and that child has like a different parent or father or whatever, and they don't tell that child. So then the child grows up thinking, oh, this person was my father, and never really was, And so then they normally tell them when they become like adult age, and that just makes things worse. Then they end up on the Murray show, but not no more because his show got canceled because of some stuff. Some scandalous stuff. Anyway, so Kelly is still contemplating, like what she should do and everything. So when talking to Topa, she's all like, when she has hard decisions like this, she likes to eat some, I forget the name, this alien name of cake, but it's Mocklin cake. And she's all like, you look like you can use like a heaping hand of it. So Topa, being smart, kind of gets a clue that maybe they should try this cake, but why? So then they went on the computer and looked up this cake and the different recipes, and they found a file, but it's password protected. So then Topa orders some cake, and then all of a sudden on the screen the password comes up. So Topa reads it and is very shocked and surprised by what he is reading. He now finally understands he was born a female and understands why he feels the way he does. So his parents come in, and of course Clayton was being like a butthead and everything, and Bortus is being like sympathetic and stuff. And so then next thing you know, Clayton goes to Kelly and is furious at her, talking about why did you interfere in our family and stuff like that. And she's all like, look, I didn't tell him nothing. But he's like, but you pointed him in that direction to look up that file and everything. And so she basically, they have it out. They just clash like verbally and everything. But Clayton's getting very, very, very grumpy. And then he tries to choke Kelly, to where she deflects him and pushes him up against the wall and threatens to break his arm and everything. I gotta say, I thought Mocklin's supposed to be like really strong, but I guess not. Kelly was able to take him down easily. And so before Clayton talked to Kelly, Kelly went to the doctor and was all like, I think I did a bad thing, and I need to know if I did like the right thing or not, because it pained Kelly so much to keep this secret, because those two was like really starting to bond, and Topa was really like feeling very comfortable around Kelly and stuff. And so I'll get my thoughts this episode later. I'm just gonna get like the rundown first. So then whatchamacallit, they hash it out some more, like the family and like the captain and this and that, and Kelly and everything, and Topa's parents. They just start like having it out. And then at one point does Topa do this first or second? But anyway, at some point Topa goes to Isaac and asks what was it like to kill yourself and stuff like that. And so Isaac starts talking to Topa and everything, and wants to know, is Isaac unhappy that he was brought back to life and everything. So of course he tells Kelly, and Kelly's upset because she fears that Topa might be suicidal, which a lot of LGBT people are, And I'm like, oh no, man, I hope it don't go that route and everything. So every time they will go to see Topa, I was always suspecting Topa would be like hung or something like that, So Topa decides they want to have like the surgery, but Bortus, he's upset because Topa won't talk to him no more. And so he cries to Kelly, and it's nice to see that emotional side to like Bortus and everything, because Bortus loves that child no matter what, you know what I'm saying? And so the doctor, she's willing to give the surgery, but you have to have the parents consent. Well, of course, Clyden is not going to do it. He's still being a butthead, just like all furious. But they have to have one parent consent. So of course, Borders does that. But that's not the only thing they have to do. They have to get permission. And of course, the Mocklins aren't going to get permission, and they have to get permission from the Union. This is where everything gets dicey. The Admiral is all like, she understands, she wants nothing but the best for Topa, but the problem is, if a Union fleet doctor performs this procedure, it's gonna piss the Mocklins off, and they need them for the Kalon and everything. And so she basically gives the speech of, sacrificing one person's need for the betterment of this Union team or whatever to take on the Kalon is more important and stuff. So she denies the request. And so, as they're down on the planet and stuff, Dr. Flynn and, the captain and commander and all them, they're talking about Topa. And so the doctor's all like, well, she resigns her commission, then she'll be able to do the surgery. But they tell her this has to be your decision, and if you resign, you can't just get your job back. It's gonna be a hurdle and stuff. And not only that, but it's gonna piss the Mocklin off and everything. So they don't know what they're gonna do, but the doctor is very adamant she will do it until Isaac comes up with a very interesting plan. I never knew Isaac was never a Union officer. He's just he's not an ambassador, but he's kind of like a liaison type person. And so technically he has the Union has no jurisdiction with him. And he could perform the procedure, but they don't want him to because he's an android. But he's all like, look, I can download everything I can do and, and just do it, because I'm proficient like that. So the plan is set, and the captain orders him not to do it. But if he decides to do it on his own, then there's nothing they can do, and nobody can witness it. So, they come up with an interesting plan. So they arrange for Borders to give a recital. I assumed everybody was gonna witness the transformation, but they don't. And so we finally get to hear Borders sing. But before he does, it's a funny thing where the doctor's younger son's playing the piano, and he's all like, "You're playing that too loudly," or the wrong pitch or whatever, or the wrong whatever you call when you're in the high notes, and he wanted to go a little bit lower. So then he sings and everything as Isaac goes and gets Topa, and it's all we're gonna have the surgery. But Topa's very scared. She wants the doctor, and he informs the doctor can't be here, and everything, but rest assured, Topa's in safe hands. Before the procedure can happen, in comes Clayton, and he is pissed and he is furious. He's already threatened to leave Borders if this procedure happens. Then he tries to attack Isaac, which was a big no-no. With one hand, he basically twists the dude's arm and everything and renders him to the ground. And then he leaves and stuff, because Isaac was not about to let him hurt Topa. So as the singing's going on, Topa has the surgery. And then when Topa has the surgery, it takes a while. We don't get to see Topa first. First we see the feet, and then it works its way up. And I'm like, okay, I was expecting to see boobs or something like that, because Topa is now a lot older. Well, now she is a teenager, you know what I'm saying? Because they age faster than humans. And so, but we didn't see that. I'm like, okay, it was a teen, so preteen, so not yet. So I'm like, okay, so how's she gonna look different? Then we see her face, and I'm just kind of like, well, it looks the same and everything. And oh, I'm forgetting one very important part. Topa tell Kelly that she's never seen a Mocklin female, so they reenact the season 1 trial in the holodeck. And some of it I think is footage, and the other part is actually new stuff that they just redid, I think. Either that or they was on a green screen that was really good. Um, and so they reenact everything. It's kind of cool to see everybody look the way they did with their hairstyles in season one. Well, the two females. Now, Alora was there, but if it was refilmed, I don't think it was her because they said like special guest appearance by the actress who played that female Mocklin and stuff. So I'm pretty sure they was in like a room with the actual people and recreating everything. 'Cause it couldn't all been a green screen. Some of it did look that way. But then I think when it comes to Allura, I think it was like a stunt person, like a fill-in, because it was very far away in the distance, and like the face kind of looked a little bit off. And so anyway, back to Topa. So like I said before, the face didn't really look all that different. It looked a little bit smoother, but like, hey, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then so in a very sad, touching, emotional scene, Clyden is packing. And we get to hear now Topa's female voice, and it sounds completely different than what it did before. See, here's the thing. Because this episode literally just came out at 11 p.m. on Wednesday, a lot of information is not online. You have like what the episode's about on Wikipedia and fandom and IMBD, but they don't list who plays Topa. Now this is what's very confusing. When Topa was a dude, it sounded either like a female trying to sound like a man or a transgenic male. And the person's voice sounded black. Not only that, but the person actually looked kind of black. And not only that, but the person spoke a certain way. Very logical, very scientific, very almost like Vulcanish, you know what I'm saying? But then when Topa became female, the voice was very high pitched. It sounded like a white girl, and the makeup underneath looked like that of a white girl. So I don't know if two completely different people played Topa or not, or if it was just one, because it's still too early to find out. I'm hoping by tomorrow when I upload this, it will make they will actually have who played who and stuff. So if you hear at the very end of the episode I explain that, then you know, but if not, and I'll just upload it anyway, and then one day just do it in the description. So what is it? So they're having a heart to heart, but he's being his buttheaded self, and Topa's pretty much like, I love you and all this and this and all this other stuff, and Clayton just pretty much like, I wish you was never born. And then Borders walks up and like, I love you very much. Now my thoughts on this episode. This was a very touching, very lovely episode. It was very emotional. It was very personal. It was very character centric. They did throw in a little bit of action in the holodeck with the Kalon. I'm kind of getting tired of being teased with the whole Kalon thing. It's like every time we see them, it's some type of holographic simulation, or it's the real thing, but very brief. So it's like, are they gonna ever show up again or not? Because in the trailer to the entire season, there's a Kalon has orange eyes laying on a bed, and that's not Isaac. So I don't know, but anyway. And so like it this does deal with transgender rights, and see, the thing about this episode that's so great is that it's not one. It's a teaching moment. You know what I'm saying? It's there to help other trans people, want to accept themselves and like have the procedure and stuff like that. But it's also there to teach non-transgender people about the want and the need to be something that you're not born, but you feel that way. And especially those that hate it, because there's gonna be some people that are like, "Oh, this episode was woke," or like, "Ooh, it's agenda. Ooh, they shoving it down our throats and everything." It's there to be a teaching lesson for those idiots as well as intelligent people, and because it's that want and desire, need that a lot of people just can't relate to. Yeah, like when it comes to a person, say there's somebody you want to date, they don't want to date you back. You feel that want and need, but this is on a completely different level, and something a lot of people don't experience and a lot of people just simply don't understand. Like we hear transgender people all the time, but you never really stop to think about what they're going to. You know what they look like, when they and then like you hear a little like this is and that, like, oh, they're not allowed to join this type of sport or not allowed to go into this restroom, and so people never really stop to look at it through like their eyes. And that's what this episode is about. You're supposed to not look through it necessarily through your own, but you're supposed to look through it through theirs and then look through it through your own and everything. And then you're supposed to relate their personal want and desire with your own like privilege and everything, I guess you could call it, and when you realize it, they really don't have much rights at all. It's like, so many people are against that because of religious beliefs and their upbringing and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, their religious beliefs should not factor into a personal well-being or a personal life. But that's how it always is. People always have to interfere. I remember when I got like older and it was time for me to start voting, they had on there, are you okay with like same-sex marriages and stuff like that? And I'm thinking about like, I have to vote on that? Like you just can't like do it, but you couldn't because it was against the law and everything. And this was just like a couple of years back, I remember. And now, as we all know, that what's his face, one of the Supreme Court judges is talking about overturning that. And it's just kind of like, why? You're allowed to marry that idiot you're married to, so why can't another person marry somebody they love and stuff, And it's just like, and that's how this episode was. The government had a say in this person's life, you know what I'm saying, on the show. And it should never be that way. The government should never get to control how you get to feel and be because they're allowed to do whatever they want and everything. It's kind of like now what's going on with like abortion rights and everything. A lot of women and some men are very pissed that women's bodies are being controlled by that of the government, And that's kind of how like, it is in this episode with Topa and stuff. She's being controlled by the government. I forgot to mention. So Kelly and Ed, they get their butts handed to by the admiral. And I mean, they got their butts handed to. But the admiral at the end was kind of like, she understood and she knew they did the right thing and stuff because she wants the best for Topa too. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, and so it's like, I hope people look at this with their eyes wide open, their ears fully like declogged or whatever, and they really listen to the message that these people are trying to tell. And this is why Seth wrote and directed this episode. He might not be no good actor, but he's a great voice actor and he's a great creator and stuff. And when it comes to Seth, he's all for like LGBT rights and stuff, as you can tell on like Family Guy and stuff. When it came to like Stewie turning like, I don't even know what Stewie is nowadays, but when he turned like bi and stuff, and then Crabmeyer's father turned into like a woman and stuff, and Brian was trying to fight for, I think, his cousin's gay rights or something like that. And so Seth is like, always on board with stuff like that. So we knew at some point we'll be getting like another episode like this, like we did in the first. And it was nice tie back to the first and the second season. Because in the first, like I said before, Topa was born. And like, it was that whole, that person shouldn't have had the surgery, this and that, blah, blah. And in the second season, Borders was unsatisfied with Clyden because of what Clyden did and stuff. And I thought maybe in this episode, Clyden was probably going to be all like, I wish I could have been like you or something like that. But I am glad they stuck to Clyden being a butthead and him hating this whole thing, because you have to be realistic. Everybody just can't be like, oh, okay, well, reaccept you, because that's not how real life is. And we have to, and it also, it makes for good drama, you know what I'm saying? And so like this is something also like a lot of gay kids go through when they come out to their parents. Either both parents hate the decision and hate them, or you have one parent who's okay with it and another one that's not. And the one that's normally not, they just literally wish that person was never born and they disown that person. The doctor from Star Trek Discovery, Wilson Cruz, went through a similar story when he came out to his father. Now you can read that yourself on Wikipedia, because it's not really my place to like go into that. So it's on Wikipedia, his Wikipedia page and stuff. So go to that. And it's just like, when I read that about him, I was like sad, dude. I'm like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? But now they get along and everything. And sometimes that's what it takes, because if the parent truly does love you, then at some point in time in the future, they will accept your life and be okay with it and bring you back, because they miss you and everything. It reminds me of Jay from Modern Family. We all know how Jay was when it came to like LGBT stuff, but then in the later seasons he was like completely okay with it, because him and his son had such a like falling out from it. So this was a really good episode. I think it was better than the last one. There is a follow up from the last episode. The captain's like writing letters to like his kid and everything, because he misses her, but he can't send them to her for reasons. God, I wish Seth MacFarlane's acting was better, because that really did not sell it at all. But what can you do? It's his show. Okay, I knew if I waited like a couple of hours in the morning, like I'll find out who plays Topa, because they didn't have the info updated last night when I watched. It's Imani Pullum. And as you can see, she's a black actress. So of course I'm like, okay, yeah, she sounded black like in the beginning of like throughout the entire episode when she played like a boy. But when she played a girl, I thought for sure she was like a white girl, something like that, because of the sound of her voice. Her voice just kept like throwing me off at the end when they turned her into a girl and stuff. But yeah, so like I do now wonder, are they gonna keep this actress, or are they gonna keep aging her up, because Mockling's age like very, very, very fast and stuff. She did a really good job acting in this episode. I just didn't understand why her mannerisms changed from like a boy or girl, like the way her speech pattern was and stuff. Now at the very end of the episode, we get a scene with the doctor and Isaac, and we find out why he really did it. He didn't do it for Topa to make Topa happy. See, early in this episode, people was talking about, the crew still not liking Isaac and Charlie being rude and this and that, right? So he said he did it because he knows the crew like Topa, and if he does that for Topa, it will put him in the good graces of the crew. And so Dr. Flynn, says she loves how like basically how like honest brute he is and stuff. And so she invites him to like dinner and stuff. So I guess they're gonna rekindle their relationship. But I'm just kind of like, he did it not to make Topa happy, but basically to make himself liked. That was like so selfish and everything. And I'm just kind of, and she was okay with that. So that was like very shocking towards like the end and everything. But at least he did that for Topa. Well, he didn't even do it for Topa. So that was just kind of odd, you know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure that, like, I feel like weird about that ending and stuff, because it's like he did it for a selfish reason for himself. And I wonder something. Do Star Trek fans actually like the Orville? I've been wondering that, because why is this show struggling as much as it is? You think Star Trek fans will love this show. I mean, you hear them complain about New Trek, but yet they watch New Trek, and they really don't watch this. Not only that, but you never really see too many Star Trek YouTube pages like talk about this show. And not only that, but when you go to like on Twitter, you see the same random people always talking about it, and a few people talking about it, not like a lot. It never trends. And in this episode, there was a woman on Seth's page, And she commented she's gonna stop watching the Orville because the humor is gone. And, you know, and she doesn't like Charlie because Charlie is so unlikable. Now, she's right. Charlie is unlikable. And the humor is pretty much all gone, except for like a tiny bit of it. And I'm okay with that because I always felt the humor should have been taken out this show to begin with. But it's kind of like she's all like she'll watch his other comedy show. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, it's like 2 in the morning, I'm yawning. My bad. And I'm thinking that's the only reason why you're watching this show, for humor? And I'm just like, what? And it's just like, do any Star Trek fans even like really like this show? Like I've been wondering for like the longest time. Because why does it struggle? And it's so much better. You would have never gotten a more emotional episode like this from New Trek. Like you just wouldn't, you know? Now, this episode reminds me so much of something I saw when I was a kid on TV. It was either a TV movie or it was like a TV program like 2020 or Nightline or something like that, where this family had a son and he was born a son. And when they got him circumcised, they didn't do it with a scalpel. They did it with a laser because that was just something new and cutting edge at the time. Well, the laser went too far and cut his wee-wee off. And so the parents decided at a young age, since his thing is like gone, and so they decided they were going to give him reconstructive surgery to turn him into a girl. And they gave him hormone pills and everything like that. So growing up, he always, or she now I guess you could say, never felt like a girl and would do like tomboyish type stuff. Inside, emotionally, he was wrecked, or she was wrecked. She had no idea why she felt the way she did. It wasn't until she became an adult and they told her the truth. At this point in time, she was furious. I think she stopped talking to them and like everything. And so as an adult, she decided she was gonna have the surgery again and turn herself back into that of a man and having to take the hormone pills. As a result, of course, all them hormones going in the body, because this is back in like the 80s or 70s, so you know how hormone pills back then. And so even though she was a man, she looked kind of, well, he looked kind of different, you know what I'm saying? And stuff because of all the hormones and stuff like that. And this reminds me so much of like that because like, you know, he always wanted to be a boy, but never knew why and stuff like that. And the parents made that decision for him as a baby, similar to that of Topa's parents and stuff. God, I forgot. I know this happened in real life. I just can't remember where it is. Maybe I'll find it when I find a picture when I look for it online or something. I'm kind of curious now what happened to that person. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.